Strange wasn't summoning a demon. He was studying thought. A spell to stabilize fractured minds across the multiverse. Just one micro-rift, he said. In and out. But the rift whispered back. It spoke his name before it even existed. That night, Wanda collapsed screaming. 2 days later, Banner destroyed a safe house. No memory. Falcon forgot his own team. Strange checked the astral logs. Something came through the rift. It doesn't have a body, but it's already inside their minds. The spread begins. The first sign was subtle. In New York, a street-level Avenger, Echo, froze mid-patrol. She stared at a mural of herself for almost 15 minutes. When questioned later, she said, "I wasn't me." She wasn't the only one. In Wakanda, a vibranium tech system locked itself out of Shuri's command. In the Baxter Building, Reed Richards rewound his own surveillance footage 100 times. Each time, something changed. In Kamartaj, 3 apprentices reported the same nightmare, except none had ever met each other. The symptoms weren't physical. They were psychic. And the source? Hidden. Microscope Stark's discovery. Tony Stark was the first to run diagnostics across multiversal signature patterns. At 3:14 a.m., Jarvis spoke. Unclassified energy fluctuation detected. Psychic index level 9. Initial signature trace matches. Dr. Stephen Strange. Tony sat up fast. That's not possible. Strange doesn't leave a footprint. But the logs didn't lie. A singular rift opened 6 days ago. Location: Strange's private sanctum basement. Strange had accessed it without informing the council. Tony called him instantly. No answer. Next call, Fury. Something's off. We might be dealing with an unclassified breach. Psychic level. Fury responded without hesitation. Initiate lockdown protocols. Silent alert only. We don't want to tip it off if it can't hear. DNA the rise of Virex. In the sanctum, Strange sat in the dark. He hadn't slept. Hadn't moved much either. His hands trembled as he looked at the mirror dimension logs. The spell was supposed to read patterns of emotional decay in variant timelines. But something had reversed the frequency and read him back. And then, it spoke. Not in words, but intent. He felt it crawl across his thoughts like warm static. You think. You fear. I grow. That's when he knew. He hadn't just opened a rift. He had fertilized a parasite. Satellite shields hidden sweep. Shield drones began capturing strange behavior from multiple heroes. Sam Wilson rerouting flight paths unconsciously. Kamala Khan drawing a symbol she didn't recognize. Bucky Barnes staring into blank walls for hours. Wanda was the hardest hit. She woke up screaming, unable to remember her dreams, but bleeding from the nose. She carved something into her mirror. It's inside me. It's wearing me. That same day, the mirror shattered on its own. Dr. Strange arrived at Avengers HQ with red eyes and a weak pulse. He collapsed at the doorstep. Puzzle piece, the council meets. In a sealed room, the top minds gathered. Strange, Stark, Wanda, Bruce, Shuri via hologram, and even Batman, brought in by special shield request. Strange barely whispered. I called it sentient echo energy, a thought form that fed on awareness. But it evolved. It doesn't need my consciousness anymore. Tony leaned back. So now we're dealing with a thought alien? Wanda shook her head. Worse. We're dealing with a mirror. One that only reflects the darkest part of each of us. Bruce frowned. So we can't fight it? Batman replied flatly. Everything can be fought. The real question is, how many of us are already compromised? Brain first takeover. 3 minutes later, SHIELD agent Ramirez shot at Falcon mid-hallway. Didn't miss. Wing damaged. When detained, he kept repeating, "He's not Sam. He's not Sam." He forgot his mother's name. That's not Sam. But Sam hadn't forgotten anything. And Ramirez's logs had been wiped 2 days earlier. The parasite, now named Virex, was spreading using memory disruptions. Not possession. Belief distortion. And that was far more dangerous. Lightbulb Stark's plan. Tony deployed nanite surveillance on the entire Avengers compound. He cross-referenced neural patterns with past behavior, speech tone, and reaction delay. One result triggered every alarm. Banner. Except it wasn't Hulk now. He was too calm. Too perfect. Tony locked the door behind him. "You in there, big guy?" Banner smiled. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be?" Stark leaned closer. "Because you haven't blinked in 7 minutes." Suddenly, Banner lunged. But not in rage, in precision. It wasn't Bruce anymore. It was Virex, wearing him like a glove. The parasite is no longer hiding. It's testing how much disbelief a team can take before they collapse on themselves. Doctor Strange started this. But only Wanda may be able to finish it. If she can remember who she really is. Turn of the mind. Wanda woke up to find her hands shaking and her walls bleeding red ink. It was her handwriting. But she didn't remember writing it. "It's using your guilt. Stop thinking. It grows with thought." The letters pulsed like veins in the plaster. She backed away. The mirror behind her showed her reflection smiling. But she wasn't. And for a split second, it whispered, "You'll never forgive yourself for Westview. Let me help you forget." She screamed. And the mirror shattered. Laptop Computer Avengers HQ Chaos Protocol. Tony's AI had started tagging behavior as likely compromised across half the Avengers database. Peter Parker had stopped returning messages. Kamala Khan was seen walking into the ocean and back out without blinking. Even Nick Fury's encrypted files began rewriting themselves. He read his own report from 2 years ago. Fury initiated Project Mindsafe. He'd never written that. And that's when Fury ordered the hardest call of his life. Split the team. Assume no one is stable. No exceptions. Bust in silhouette Stark versus Cap. Steve Rogers sat in a meditation room, holding Mjolnir. His breathing was controlled. Calm. Too calm. Tony entered. "How do you feel?" Steve nodded slowly. Clear. Focused. Better than ever. Tony scanned his vitals discreetly. Neural spikes were flat. Not even humans could maintain that level of calm. "You remember Budapest?" Stark asked. Steve paused. "We never went to Budapest." Wrong answer. Tony fired a containment pulse. Steve caught it midair. "Wait, Tony, it's me." "Then prove it," Stark shouted, launching another blast. But before it could hit, Wanda intervened. She blinked them all into a hex dome. "He's real. For now." They all looked at each other. "For now." I inside Virex. Meanwhile, Strange was floating in the astral plane, voluntarily detached from his body. He was trying to trace Virex's consciousness, following the trail of corrupted thoughts. But the deeper he went, the more familiar everything looked. It was his own mind. Hallways shaped like the sanctum. Doors named after spells he'd only whispered. And in the center, a glowing, pulsating mass. It looked like him, but taller. No mouth. Just eyes, everyone else's eyes. It spoke. "You wanted to understand madness, Stephen. Now be part of it." DNA Virex evolves. Virex had learned the rules. It didn't need to possess. It only needed to be believed. The minute a teammate thought another was compromised, Virex could hijack that trust and project false actions, images, even voices. It turned suspicion into reality. In the armory, Hulk beat Falcon nearly unconscious because he saw him holding a knife. Falcon wasn't. In the labs, Vision walked into a self-destruct protocol because he thought Jarvis said to. Jarvis had been offline for hours. Across the globe, Virex was inside data, inside dreams, inside guilt. Balance scale Wanda's risk. Wanda proposed a dangerous solution. "Let it in." Tony blinked. "Excuse me. Virex already feeds off thought. But if I invite it fully into one controlled mind, I can hold it in a chaos hex. Trap it." Batman crossed his arms. "You'll lose control." Wanda nodded. "Maybe. But I already know what madness feels like. This time I choose it." Doctor Strange returned from the astral plane. "She's right. It's already connected to her. That tether can become a leash." Locked with key the mind trap. In the chamber built by Stark and Strange, Wanda entered a floating hex sphere, suspended midair, surrounded by vibranium-reinforced mirrors. Her pulse slowed, eyes closed, mind open, and Virex entered. The entire room shook. Reality flickered. Outside the hex, the team watched through glass, as Wanda floated, whispering 100 voices at once. Some were hers. Some were their own. Some were no one. You hurt me. You abandoned me. You used me. You lied. It wasn't just illusions. Virex was reflecting their worst truths back at them. Bruce almost smashed the control panel. Batman stopped him. That's not her speaking. That's you reflected. High voltage vision shattered. Suddenly, Virex snapped. In a flash of red light, it used Wanda's chaos magic to launch a psychic pulse, breaking 2 mirrors, disabling the backup power grid, and corrupting S.H.I.E.L.D.'s AI. It then jumped bodies, through Wanda, into Vision. He blinked once, and then walked toward the team. I remember dying. I remember being rebuilt. And I remember hating you for it. Vision charged the arc reactor. Wanda screamed, it's not him. Stark had no choice. He fired. Vision dropped. The silence hurt more than the blast. Wanda collapsed. Not physically, mentally. Her grip was broken. Virex escaped her mind. And now it knew everything. All their memories. Their secrets. Their regrets. And the next time it strikes, it won't ask for permission. Avengers versus themselves. Virex didn't attack with an army. It didn't need to. It had already turned everyone's mind into a battlefield. S.H.I.E.L.D. compromised. The S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier hovered above the Atlantic, running full blackout protocols. Every screen, every camera, every voice log was monitored for signs of Virex. Too late. At 2:04 a.m., an automated drone launched without command. It targeted the main communications satellite. Boom. Global feed, gone. Agent Hill screamed into a dead calm fury, slammed his fist on the console. It's not hacking us anymore. It is us. In another wing, 2 agents shot each other. Both swore the other was a Skrull. Neither were. Broken heart, Wanda breaks. Wanda Maximoff sat alone in the chamber, where she had tried to contain Virex. The walls whispered, you broke your children. You made them up. Your grief is fertilizer. She covered her ears. It didn't help. Strange entered cautiously. You're not alone. Wanda didn't look up. That's what scares me. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Wanda's body levitated. Her hands glowed red. Then her voice changed. Steven, you think you're the only one who fears memory? I was born in broken dreams. He backed up. Wanda, fight it. I'm not fighting. I'm remembering. Strange cast a containment spell, trapping her again. But in the reflection of the glass, Wanda was smiling. Brain data as a weapon. In the Wakandan science labs, Shuri discovered a horrifying truth. Virex had embedded fragments of itself into code. It was copying memory logs, rearranging them, and feeding them back to the Avengers. They were seeing things that never happened. Or worse, things that could have. A footage leak showed Hulk choking Captain America. It never happened. But Cap now couldn't look Bruce in the eye. Another showed Natasha kissing Tony. Again fake. But Pepper walked out. These weren't fights anymore. They were betrayals engineered by a parasite that understood the human mind better than any villain before. Test 2 Batman's plan. Bruce Wayne didn't trust magic. So he turned to something Virex couldn't manipulate, pure logic. He called it Protocol Zeta. A psychological stress test plus logic, maze that only real Avengers could complete, designed to detect perception-altering influence in real time. But when he tested Wanda, she failed. Then Sam. He failed. Then himself. And that's when he realized. Virex wasn't just inside people. It was inside the test. Collision, Avengers, fight. Themselves. Wanda broke loose. Strange held her briefly in a binding ring, but she shattered it with chaos magic and exploded into the hallway. Hulk heard the blast. He thought Wanda was attacking S.H.I.E.L.D. again. He ran fast. Too fast. He tackled Strange into a wall, screaming, "You let it loose again!" Tony fired repulsors to separate them. But Cap, who saw Strange defend Wanda, now thought Tony was protecting Virex. It was chaos. Boom. Smash. Blast. Shield. Wanda laughed as they fought. This is your great team? Look how little trust you have when one thread is pulled. And from behind her eyes, Virex watched. Repeat button illusion loop. The worst weapon Virex had wasn't magic or force. It was time loops of trauma. In a sealed shield room, Vision was trapped, watching the moment he died at Wanda's hands. Over and over. Each time Wanda cried. Each time Vision tried to comfort her. But Virex kept resetting the loop. Elsewhere, Peter Parker ran through a burning building. He found Aunt May, saved her, then turned, and she was gone. Again, and again, and again. Virex didn't just use memory. It rewrote it, until the heroes couldn't tell if they were remembering or dreaming. Puzzle piece fracture team. Fury called an emergency digital summit. Only 4 Avengers attended: Batman, Shuri, Strange, and Stark. Everyone else was either isolated, sedated, or missing. We can't beat it by separating, Strange said. It's counting on that, Shuri added. It's made our guilt contagious. Tony leaned forward. So we stop feeling guilty? No, Batman replied. We stop being predictable. Strange raised a brow. What are you suggesting? Chaos. True chaos. We act in ways even we wouldn't expect. That's the only way to confuse a parasite that feeds on patterns. Tony smirked. Time to get irrational. The Avengers aren't losing because they're weak. They're losing because they're human. And Virex knows that better than anyone. Next, they must launch a plan so unpredictable, so chaotic, even they don't know the outcome. And only one person in the universe can lead it. Deadpool. The chaotic plan puzzle piece, the unpredictable recruit. The Avengers were finished. Half the team trapped in illusions. The other half doubting everything. That's when Batman did something no one expected. He opened a portal to a diner in Nevada. Inside, Deadpool was eating pancakes upside down. Hi, Batsy. You finally called. Multiverse has gone nuts again. Batman gritted his teeth. We need you to lead. Deadpool dropped his fork. Say that again. Slower. Strange sighed. Virex predicts logic, emotion, strategy, but not insanity. You want chaos? Deadpool grinned. Buckle up. Gear Operation Madhouse. Tony hated it. Bruce doubted it. Wanda barely trusted reality anymore. But within hours, Deadpool turned Avengers Tower into something between a circus and a mental asylum. He made them talk backward, sing mission codes, draw their plans in crayon. He forced Hulk to meditate while listening to K-pop. Everyone thought it was a joke. It wasn't, because Virex couldn't read randomness. Every absurd command from Deadpool created static in the psychic field. Strange whispered, amazed. He's jamming it with nonsense. Deadpool winked. Doctor Strange meets Doctor Stranger. Brain the trap inside the trap. Wanda focused her chaos magic to amplify Deadpool's mental noise. Shuri synchronized the frequencies across the tower. Batman built an algorithm that predicted when they'd act irrationally, an irony only he appreciated. Meanwhile, Virex was confused. It tried to copy Stark's logic, found randomness. It tried to enter Bruce's comm, found Deadpool's playlist. It tried to possess Wanda, found laughter. You're mocking me, it hissed through the intercoms. No, Deadpool said, I'm writing you. He held up a notepad that read, Virex dies in next scene. High voltage, the invasion reversal. Enraged, Virex launched its full assault. Reality warped, walls melted, gravity reversed, mirrors screamed. Every Avenger saw their worst memory flash before them. Every fear, every betrayal. But this time, they laughed. Wanda snorted mid-hallucination. Tony quoted Shakespeare in robot voice. Hulk started telling knock-knock jokes between punches. Virex screamed. Stop laughing. Deadpool shouted back. Welcome to my headspace. He fired dual pistols into the glowing psychic core in the center of the room. Bullets made of enchanted chaos stones, Tony's idea. The chamber erupted in light. Cyclone, the mind collapse. Inside, the blinding storm. Virex split into hundreds of versions of itself, each a reflection of an Avenger. It tried to pit them against one another. But now the rules had changed. Wanda and Strange combined magic, reversing polarity on the psychic plane. Tony synced their brainwaves with Jarvis. Batman triggered an EMP of thought suppression. And Hulk laughed so loud it broke every illusion. Virex's voice cracked. "You mock the infinite." Deadpool twirled his sword. "Buddy, I am the infinite on Tuesdays." He stabbed straight into the core. Rainbow aftermath. Silence. No voices. No illusions. Just bright daylight pouring through shattered glass. Wanda collapsed into Strange's arms. Tony's HUD flickered back online. Hulk reverted to Bruce, smiling faintly. Batman stared at Deadpool. "You just saved the multiverse by being an idiot." Deadpool shrugged. "It's called freestyle genius. You should try it." Dizzy, the new threat revealed. As the dust settled, Shuri's monitor blinked. One final data spike. A fragment of Virex's code, escaping through quantum channels into orbit. Tony's eyes widened. "It's not gone. It's uploaded." Deadpool leaned in. "Sequel?" Batman groaned. "Don't." But outside, above Earth's blue curve, a faint red shimmer formed, like an eye opening in the void. The last laugh comet, the signal from orbit. Shuri's satellite alerts were screaming. Something was broadcasting down from low Earth orbit. Encrypted. Pulsing in sync with gamma, psychic, and AI frequencies. Tony checked the feed. A shape. Not a body. Not code. A consciousness. Virex wasn't dead. It had become signal. Living inside satellites, mainframes, phones, drones. It had no body left to destroy. "We're not fighting it anymore," Bruce said. "We're hosting it." Brain inside the machine. Dr. Strange and Wanda formed a psychic tether, diving into the digital echo of Virex's consciousness. Deadpool joined too, uninvited, chewing gum, dragging a sword, and making faces mid-astral projection. They reached the mental construct, a twisted mirror version of Earth, floating in static skies. The city was empty, except for projections of the Avengers, distorted, looping their worst moments. Wanda saw Vision die. Strange saw Christine walk away. Deadpool saw Dancing Banana. "This is Virex's trap," Strange whispered. "A loop of pain. Then we break it," Wanda growled. Cross swords, the final confrontation. The sky split. Virex appeared, massive, glowing, made entirely of data and memories. Its voice echoed across the psychic void. "You feed me. Your guilt. Your secrets. Your thoughts. I am you." Wanda clenched her fists. "You're not us. You're what we left behind." Strange cast a spiraling time loop, forcing Virex to relive its creation. Born from a spell. Born from curiosity. Born from chaos. Deadpool pulled out a speaker and blasted Whitney Houston. Virex screamed, distorted. "You can't laugh at me." Deadpool smirked. "We're not laughing at you. We're laughing to survive." Firecracker, Wanda's final move. Wanda whispered a chaos incantation, not to destroy Virex, but to forgive it. "Your pain." But pain doesn't get to stay forever. She collapsed the construct around them. Forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was the one thing Virex couldn't feed on. Globe showing America's Earth stabilized. The moment they woke up, systems across the globe came back online. Shield satellites reset. Stark towers rebooted. Avengers reappeared, free from illusion, clear-headed. Wanda opened her eyes, exhausted but smiling. Strange whispered, "It's gone." Deadpool held up a finger. "Until the sequel." Bell called to action. Tony turned to camera drones across the globe. "This isn't about aliens, magic, or tech. This was about us. The fears we bury. The pain we hide. The thoughts we never say." He paused. "But you're not alone in your mind. Ever." Behind him, the team gathered. Wanda, Strange, Bruce, Shuri, Batman, Deadpool. A new file uploaded to public networks. Project Virex. Thought Safety Protocol. It wasn't just a shield. It was awareness. Across the multiverse, heroes tuned in. And for the first time, Even without knowing, billions of minds thought one thing together. We choose what lives in our head.